What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, March 5th. We got a show for you. It's going to be fun times. It's going to be very interesting. Uh, obviously, I'm going to spend a couple of segments talking about what happened yesterday with the joint session of Congress. Yeah. So, mainly, I want to focus on the Democrats' reaction to it, including Al Green, um, and then, of course, the rest of the party. Yeah. And the reason that I'm not going to focus on what Trump said is mainly because we already know that most of what Donald Trump said was going to be complete and utter bullshit anyway. So,
Bullshit.
don't really have to go through all those falsehoods because we would be here for the next 2 days. Okay, probably to go in. But I do want to talk about what are the Democrats doing to counter Donald Trump, to show any sort of backbone, any sort of resistance. We're going to go through that. We're going to talk about it, the good and the bad. Okay, because there is both, and then of course I also want to talk about Alina Habba, counselor to the president, basically attacking veterans as lazy wastes of money. So that is a disastrous story. Then we've got some good news. Gen Z men not feeling President Trump. Hmm, interesting. We've got a poll on that, and then I think one of the more interesting stories of the day is the Luigi Mangione sex tape smear? I'm not quite sure what to call it, but there are allegations here with no evidence to back them up. So I will talk about it. And I want to talk about maybe one of the reasons why that has popped up. So, anyway, that's going to be the show today. It's what we're going to talk about. So, before I do, please like and share the stream. Those of you listening on Patreon, again, thank you for your support. Um, it's gonna be a great show. Those of you listening and watching live on YouTube, please like and share. Very important that you do so. Help us out. Super chats always welcome. Your feedback always welcome. In fact, look, I'm gonna be honest, right? So with so much going on, perhaps you might want to, say, hey, Jeff, maybe this is a story that you missed. Did you, or maybe this is, this is something that, I would like to see you talk about. I would like to see you cover. I'm always cool with getting suggestions. I don't always follow them, but in a lot of cases I do. So if you want to, send story suggestions or things that you would like me to talk about, you'd like me to cover stories, please, jeffwaldorf.bsky.social. That's my Blue Sky account. So, send those there. Because, again, I want to make sure to, cover some of the stuff that you guys want me to cover as well. That are, stuff that's interesting to you guys as well. Because, look, there's a lot of progressive shows. There's a lot of great progressive shows that are covering a lot of things, and I noticed that we cover a lot of the same stuff, and of course we've got our different perspectives. But I think there are some topics that people are like, okay, I'm bored of this. Let's get something new. Let's get something interesting. That's maybe what I'm seeing in my numbers, because they ain't great. Okay, for the last month or so, it's just been, I mean, YouTube numbers have been garbage, but so I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's a sign that I need to cover something more interesting, get y'all engaged, and wanting to come back and watch some of this content. So That's just my thoughts on this. Is this a live or a pre-recorded show? It's live. It's live. It's live. Okay. And so hopefully that answers your question.
We'll do it live.
That's right. We're going to do it live. And we're doing it live. And so there you go. All right. Anyway, with that out of the way, why don't we dive into the first story here? And that is what happened? What happened at the joint session of Congress? Representative Al Green of Texas was removed forcibly from the House chamber after calling out President Donald Trump.
That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Decorum. We must have decorum, sir. You must sit down or be removed. Oh, you're not going to sit down. Okay, you're going to get removed by the Sergeant-at-Arms. Get out of here. Huh, ironic, right? Got Donald Trump's goons, basically, kicking out the opposition, they're supposed to be the opposition here, for ironically doing the things that other people have done. Do you remember Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene during Biden's State of the Union? How disruptive they were. They weren't kicked out. How about going back to 2009? This is a classic, right? Joe Wilson's "You Lie" during one of Obama's joint speeches to Congress.
Obama.
Exactly. And so, look, to be fair, though, the "You Lie," that was actually back when you didn't just have lockstep with the Republican president, right? Both members of both parties did not like that one. In fact, Senator John McCain at the time said that it was totally disrespectful. No place for it in that setting or any other. And he should apologize immediately. Now, of course, that was the start because it was Obama. So the guy didn't apologize to anyone. Okay. Now, that said, not all the Republicans were like, oh, yes, kick that man out. Kick him out. Kick him out. But when, again, Boebert and Green heckled Biden, there were no problems. You were allowed to stay. Sure. I don't know. It feels like there's a little bit of a double standard here. All right. And I think that decorum has gone out the window. Okay. And I never was a fan of it to begin with. All right. So now, that said, what did Green say? He said that you have no mandate. That's what he was telling Trump. You have no mandate to cut Medicaid. So funny enough, this guy's out there defending Trump supporters. Now, look, people who voted for Trump also are on Medicaid. And they're also on the SNAP program, okay? Which Republicans have tried to completely gut. That they passed a bill that guts about $880 billion out of Medicaid and $230 billion out of the SNAP program. A lot of which goes to feed hungry children, by the way. And the reason that they're passing this bill is, look, they want to cut taxes for the rich. Okay, the richest Americans give the lion's share of this $4.5 trillion tax cut that the Republicans have been pushing through budget reconciliation. So you got Al Green actually standing up for both Democrats who are on the program, people in poverty, and Trump supporters equally, because they're all looking at losing their food and their health care. Okay, so I just want to make sure that is addressed. Okay, the reason that he did it is because, again, what you're going to see here from right wing media, we're going to see here from conservative influencers, is how rude was he, how disrespectful. Oh my God, I can't believe he would do that. It's the Democrat Party just trying to oppose Donald Trump and be rude about it. No, this guy's saying you don't have a mandate to cut Medicaid. That's the issue, right? In fact, after he was kicked out, Green spoke to NBC News about the incident, about punishment, and about the reasons that he spoke up to begin with.
I've said I'll accept the punishment, but it's worth it to let people know that there are some of us who are going to stand up against this president's desire to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security.
Were you saying you have no mandate? Is that what you just?
That's what he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. None.
Is the only punishment that you were kicked out, sir? Is there something?
I don't know. Whatever the punishment is, I'm not fighting the punishment. This is about the people who are being punished by virtue of losing their health care. This is the richest country in the world, and we have people who don't have good health care. We've got to do better. And now we're about to cut Medicaid, which is for poor people. Health care has become wealth care for many people, and we can't afford to let that happen.
Is that the only thing that you're protesting?
No, I have other things I'm protesting. And I'm also working on my articles of impeachment. This president is unfit. He should not hold the office. 34 felony convictions, 2 times impeached.
Look, that right there, that's how the Democrats should actually fight. Yeah, and he's doing it for the right reasons. He's saying that, this guy's unfit for office. He is a criminal. He has been impeached twice. And he's trying to gut Medicaid. Why wouldn't you stand up against him? Okay? No, and by the way, Donald Trump did not get elected with a mandate to cut these programs. He's absolutely right. I mean, look, most Americans are actually against cutting Medicaid. A poll from Hart Research conducted for the nonprofit Families Over Billionaires, found that 71% of voters who backed Donald Trump opposed cutting Medicaid, said that would be unacceptable. Voters overall were even more opposed to it. 82% said, no, we're not. We didn't vote for you. We don't want you to cut Medicaid. What are you doing? You're supposed to make things easier for people, right? You're supposed to make the economy better, right? What are you doing making it harder for poor people to be able to afford health care and to be able to afford food? What is wrong with you? 6 in 10 Trump voters also said that cutting food and nutrition programs would be unacceptable. And there it is. There it is. Look, here's the other thing about the mandate, right? Because Republicans are like, Donald Trump has a mandate from the American people to make America great again. Winning by a hair isn't a mandate. And especially, it's not a mandate to do whatever the hell you want, which is to loot the treasury. Okay? Because that's what he's doing. Okay? He's doing deeply unpopular things. And if he's not the one that's doing them, he is allowing Elon Musk to do very unpopular things. And maybe that's by design, like, I'm not telling him to cut the government, except that when he's asked, he's like, I totally support Doge and Elon Musk, who's the leader of Doge. But wait a minute, is he the leader or isn't he? Because he's like, no, I don't actually run Doge. No, I'm not actually running this non-agency, this non-department. No, that's not me. Because, that would be massive conflicts of interest. And then Dum Dum comes in and is like, yeah, Elon Musk, running Doge, he's doing a great job, tremendous job. And like, oh dear God, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're gonna get me into, you're gonna get me into legal problems. But then again, will he? Will he get into legal problems? Is this, our judicial system's kind of full right now, and there's a lot of MAGA people in those positions. So maybe you won't get in trouble at all. But nonetheless, right? Al's message is a great one. Okay, because they don't have a mandate for this. No, we're not going to sit here and let you, gut Medicaid. It's ridiculous. And let's be honest too. Part of this is the show, right? Like Al Green knew what he was doing. And I think he did the right thing. He wanted to get kicked out. Now, that's despite, of course, Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries saying, ooh, you better not do anything during this speech. We'll get into that in another segment here. And Green's like, F that noise, dude. I'm going to make some good trouble. And I love that. Again, he accepts any punishment. And of course, Republicans are absolutely going to try to drop the hammer on him. That message, though, that he put out was very, very important. And I think that deserves a ton of respect. And I think it should just reinforce the fact that for Democrats, the time is way past for decorum. Okay? No, it's actually time for you to start acting like an opposition party, which means opposing Republicans instead of trying to suck up to them. To do your job, Democrats, be more like Al Green. Speaking of Democrats, right, being weak. Oh my goodness. You are going to be pissed off at this. Tuesday night was President Donald Trump's first joint session to Congress, and during that, Representative Al Green was kicked out for heckling the president, saying that he does not have a mandate to cut Medicaid, which was absolutely right. But aside from Green, where were the rest of the Democrats? What happened? Where are the Democrats? Well, for one, there are some that decided not to show up, right? Which I think is a totally fine call, right? Maxine Waters is like, nah. AOC's like, F that noise. I ain't going, okay? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to live skeet it, okay? That's what I'm going to do. All right, totally fine, right? You don't have to show up and legitimize Donald Trump and his, clown Congress, all right? But there are others that took a bit more of a muted approach. That's the wrong one. There it is. Yo, holding up some placards. Little, yeah. Say, oh, look, save Medicaid. And some false Rashida Tlaib, at least she's got the whiteboard. But still, that's not exactly what people were hoping for when it comes to, resisting Donald Trump. Okay. In fact, you had historian Douglas Brinkley going on CNN and saying, boy, did the Democrats drop the ball on this one. Brinkley said that Trump had seemed relaxed, but, and that he had a better night than the Democrats. And they were just, I guess, everybody left to their own. Yeah, pretty much. Hey, y'all are on your own. Okay. Now, that said, Stephen Colbert went after the Democrats' reaction on his show. With his own little sign. Try doing something. God, wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? So, look, why no fight? Why no pushback? Why no what happened to the resistance? Well, it turns out that Democrats were instructed by leadership not to do any resistance. Even those signs that you saw, leadership was like, don't do it. Better not. Wow. According to CNN, House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries and his top deputies had counseled their colleagues to not distract from the party's overall message about the real-world effects of Trump's government purge. One House Democrat characterized leadership's message as, Trump's got the microphone. He's quick on his feet. Express your resistance, but don't become the story. Among the suggestions from Jeffries, no signs, no props, no attention-grabbing stunts that could be seized upon by the GOP. Well, Al Green took a look at that and was like, yeah, no, F off. I'm totally going to do it. And he did. Huge credit. Now, Representative Mark Pocan, he's like, you're telling us not to do anything? Quote, I'm effing pissed. Okay. And he said that the voters and the base would get mad if Democrats didn't make their opposition clearly known, according to multiple people in the room. Well, yes, it turns out people, I don't know, people like it when you fight back and not just roll over like Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, that's what he's doing. It's super, velvety soft resistance from Hakeem Jeffries. This is ridiculous. One lawmaker told Axios, quote, we're going to do what we've got to do. All right. Now, Jeffries in the leadership, the Democratic Party is just weak. They're so incredibly weak. They are wrong for the moment. Super wrong. Okay. It's frankly pathetic. All right. This is not the time to disarm. This is not the time for decorum and comity. Okay. No, you got to fight back. Yes. And you know what? Sometimes you got to get loud. You got to get disruptive. That's it. I mean, look, what maybe should have happened is when Al Green got kicked out, all the rest of the Democrats should have got up and followed him, and said, you know what? You kick one of us out, you can kick us all out. Might as well. Show a little solidarity. Show a little backbone. Okay? At least we had one person that did, but nobody else followed. Okay? Now, on social media, people have been praising Green and have called out the rest of the Democratic Party for, not fighting back. Here's one person is from Blue Sky. Hakeem Jeffries, the time of decorum is long gone right now. Like, what Al Green did is what it is time for. It is time for action. Those on the other side have no interest in decorum. Another asks, where are the rest of the Dems? Al Green is exactly what this moment needs. Another said, this is what leadership looks like. Where are the rest of the Dems? Holding stupid signs, wearing pink, being quiet when 95% of what Trump said were lies and hate speech? Another said, I'm disgusted by Democrats that more of them didn't stand up and do something. Pathetic people. Another said, too bad other Dems didn't follow Al out the door. Holding little signs isn't going to cut it. That's right. That's right. Now, but wait a minute. You might say, you are so unfair criticizing the Democrats, especially when Alyssa Slotkin, she gave a rebuttal. Really? Well, let's check in on that.
President Trump loves to say peace through strength. That's actually a line he stole from Ronald Reagan. But let me tell you, after the spectacle that just took place in the Oval Office last week, Reagan must be rolling in his grave. But Reagan understood that true strength required America to combine our military and economic might with moral clarity. As a Cold War kid, I'm thankful it was Reagan and not Trump in office in the 1980s. Trump would have lost us the Cold War.
What was it? Is that a Democrat or a Republican? Oh, Ronald Reagan would have been rolling in his grave. Reagan, so good. I love Ronald Reagan. I love Ronald Reagan so much. Oh, he would have been so great today. Unlike Donald Trump. That's a Democrat. I mean, being thankful for Ronald Reagan is ridiculous, okay? Ronald Reagan is where where Republicans, yes, where the country went wrong, off the wrong track, okay? But what do you expect from somebody who was CIA, from somebody who worked for the George W. Bush administration, okay? What do you expect? All right, this is the Democratic Party establishment failing on every single level to oppose Donald Trump. This is the result of failing leadership. Okay, leadership that after Kamala Harris lost because she went right talking about how, oh, we need to have a lethal military, the most lethal military. I got my Glock in my purse, all that stuff. She, like, the people that were the consultant class, the strategists, all of them should have been fired. Gone. They should clean house at the Democratic Party from the top down. Okay, but they didn't do that. They didn't clean house. Instead, what we have are the same losers and the same losing party. Okay, the same party that wants to chase the mythical conservative, Republican voter in the suburbs. Okay, the mythical voter that is disgusted with Donald Trump, that votes for Donald Trump all the time. We're gonna get them this time. No, you never get them because they don't exist. They don't exist. You're chasing a fantasy and ignoring the left. But of course, the problem is for them is that if they, actually, listen to the left, then they wouldn't get their massive donors. Okay, they wouldn't get these massive donations from their corporate donors. And of course, at the end of the day, they can't have that. No. That's why they continue to chase these Republicans to the right in the hopes of, becoming Republicans themselves. I mean, it's so obvious that they see Republicans as the better party, as the ones to become, that, they're chasing their voters and even adopting their positions. It is absolutely pathetic. Need new leadership, clean house. Okay. I hope I'm clear about that. Let's move on. Yeah, the unicorn Republican / Democratic voter. Exactly. Counselor to the president, Alina Habba, believes that the veterans don't deserve to have a job.
salvage their lives?
Well, as you know, we care about veterans tremendously. I mean, that's something the president has always cared about. Anybody in blue, anybody that serves this country. But at the same time, we have taxpayer dollars. We have a fiscal responsibility to use taxpayer dollars to pay people that actually work. That doesn't mean that we forget our veterans by any means. We are going to care for them in the right way, but perhaps they're not fit to have a job at this moment or not willing to come to work. And we can't, I wouldn't take money from you and pay somebody and say, sorry, they're not going to come to work. It's just not acceptable.
What is she talking about? Oh, yeah, no, they're not coming to work. we're just paying people to not work. What? Are you calling veterans lazy? Yeah, no, they don't want to work. They don't want to show up to work. What's wrong with them? But we love our veterans, by the way. Alina Habba just called 30%, or roughly 30% of the federal workforce, lazy moochers who might not be fit to have a quote-unquote real job. Come on. I mean, look, as of February 25th, Democrats in the House Appropriations Committee said at least 6,000 veterans have been fired across the federal government. Okay? So you can tell me that all 6,000 of those veterans are lazy moochers who just didn't want to show up to work. Oh, so we had to get rid of them. What a waste. But we love the veterans. We love them so much. That doesn't make any sense. All right. Look, here's the thing. They lost their job. How are they supposed to, live and pay their bills? Right. I mean, that's a question that nobody can seem to answer. Okay. And by the way, it's also an ableist statement. You know that many veterans have PTSD or they have other disabilities that do make it more difficult to be employed in the private sector. I mean, because there are a lot of employers in the private sector that maybe don't want to deal with, accessibility, all right, for veterans. So, or accommodations, and so, those accommodations are too expensive. So, I really don't want to. I don't really want to do that, right? So, what are these veterans going to do? You know that there is a homelessness problem among veterans as well. By firing them from their workforce, from their jobs, you're going to make it so that some of them end up on the street. That's what they're doing, okay? And look, here's the thing. This doesn't have anything to do with how hard they work, okay? None of the firings, we're talking about the probationary employees, right? They're on the probation because of how long they've worked in that particular agency, right? And some of them will go from agency to agency. And of course, every time you go to a new job, you get that probationary period of 1 to 2 years. And so these people, they got fired. And then the administration lied about the reason that they were being fired. Oh, it's performance. They're all lazy. They're terrible workers. You know how that is. We had to get rid of them because of that. But we love the veterans, by the way. No, you just disparaged a whole crap load of them, okay, with something that is completely and utterly untrue. And let me get to the other part, right? Oh, they don't show up, right? They don't actually come to work. Are you talking about remote work? Because I hate the idea that remote work isn't actually work because you're not showing up in person. If the work still gets done, if the job still gets done, then what does it matter where you are doing it at, where you are physically located? Look, what they want, and the reason that the administration is just absolutely obsessed with making people come into work, right, is because they have the CEO mentality, okay, of I need to micromanage my workers because I hate my workers. I hate my workers. I think they're all lazy. I think they're all terrible. So you have to watch them like a hawk to make sure they're actually doing their work. No, you guys are just middle managers, or you're acting like middle managers that are trying to justify your own existence. All right. By, again, watching and micromanaging everything that these workers do. People do just fine with working from home, with remote work. Okay, they do just fine. There are usually no problems with that, right? And are just as productive, if not more productive, than people who had to go into the office. Okay, so again, it just really bothers me of the whole remote work isn't real work. No, no, doing what you're doing right now, Alina Haba, that's not real work. Okay, just ridiculous. Okay, but look, getting back to the veterans, the whole point is to basically call what they're doing waste, right? Oh, it's wasteful to employ them. No, they're civil servants. They're doing a job that is necessary in the government. And look, there's a lot of criticism of these cuts, which there should be. Will Adig, executive director of the Union Veterans Council, said, "It's disappointing to me that all the work that we did to improve veterans' lives is being thrown down the drain. As a veteran advocate who fought for and worked to make sure I can go to a veteran in need and say, here is a job for you, so you can live the American dream you fought for, and then come to find out that everything that I told them was a lie, I feel like I betrayed myself." No, you didn't, though. You were betrayed by the Trump administration, by Republicans, all for the benefit of a South African billionaire who believes, by the way, that the poor and the disabled should die. I'm not kidding. It's social Darwinism. Oh, yeah, no, those people should die because they're a drain on our resources. Resources that should rightly go to me because I'm already super rich. No, no. There's another disabled veteran, Lindsay Butts, who served in the Air Force and was an executive assistant at the U.S. Forest Service in Cedar City, Utah. She said that she was one of those probationary employees. And in fact, she lost her job right before the end of her probationary period, March 9th. So just another couple of weeks and she would have been fairly safe. Okay. Here's what she said. Those of us that are veterans wrote a blank check for our lives and said, use me how you can support this country. It feels like a slap in the face to not even have the opportunity to defend my job. It feels like a slap in the face that my brothers and sisters in arms have been treated the same way. I sacrificed a part of my life, and I have lasting baggage from that experience. And you're just going to get rid of me? Throw me away like a piece of garbage? It hurts. I just want my job back. I want my job back because my job is needed. I know my job is important. These are the people that Elon Musk and the Republicans are calling a waste. Okay? These are the people that Marjorie Taylor Greene was out saying, get a real job. You don't have a real job. And you go get a real job. What's a real job to them? What's a real job to them? Because apparently public service is not a real job. So, hey, Marjorie Greene, why don't you go get a real job and leave politics forever? That would be great. No, to them, a real job is apparently making profits for a billionaire. Okay, anything else to them is an absolute waste. Look, the reality here is a lot of the people that are being let go might not be able to get back on their feet. Because, for one, there might not be enough good private sector jobs out there. And secondly, some of them have disabilities. And so, it's going to be much more difficult for them to be able to get a good paying job. That's the reality. And it's really messed up, and even more messed up knowing that this is exactly what they think about our veterans and what they've thought about them all along. Just a prop for them. Just a prop and to be used to get elected and then thrown away. All right. Moving on. Oh, whoa. That was weird. Didn't mean to disappear there. Following President Donald Trump's address to Congress, where he rattled off about how great of a job he's doing. You know, doing a fantastic, doing a great job. Economy's great. Everything's awesome. Tremendous. Well, a new poll has come out showing that many of his voters don't agree, at least in one very important demographic. Now, one of the ways that Trump was able to win this election was due to some of the gains that he made among Gen Z men. Younger men have traditionally voted for Democrats. However, in this election, massive swing over to the right. So now Puck News' Peter Hamby reports that some of these polls show that Trump has already lost significant support with this group just a month into his second term. Oops. Or we say, whoopsie. Hamby spoke with pollster John Della Volpe to discuss the data. 6 weeks into the presidency, he writes, Trump's support among young voters is already taking an unambiguous hit as expectations about a shiny new economy collide with our current reality. Now, of course, look, Republicans and Donald Trump, by the way, are going to sit there and blame this on all of this on Joe Biden, of course. Even though we have, the stock market that's already down. We have unemployment that's way up. We got GDP that's going down. So, yeah, all that stuff. We got tariffs that are here, that's a massive tax, about $3,000 expected to cost taxpayers over the next year. The result of all this stuff that Donald Trump has done. So, but nonetheless, Joe Biden, he did everything, but I'm doing great. Okay. Now, back to the poll here. Trump's overall favorability with younger voters has dropped 7 points among young voters, since the January poll, the weekend before his inauguration. Trump came into office with a 50% favorable rating among Gen Z. Now, he's at 43%. And again, it's the economy, okay? In January, 62% of men under 30 approved of Trump's handling of the economy. Now just 48% approve, a drop of 14 points in just a month. On handling inflation, Trump has taken a 15-point hit, dropping from 55% approval before the inauguration to around 40% today. And those downward trends are from Della Volpe's February poll, which was in the field a couple of weeks ago. This is before the multiple news cycles about inflation going up, before the tariffs sent the markets in a downward spiral, before the egg prices hit an all-time record high, and before cryptocurrency took a massive dump. Yes, they call them dumps.
Dumps. Big, massive dumps.
The pollster tells Hamby that if Donald Trump doesn't do something and start lowering the cost of living quickly, then even his strongest backers may conclude that he can't deliver. I don't know about that part, honestly, because I think a lot of his strongest backers are still going to be with him no matter what. There's a lot of ride or die people, right? That said, he can't deliver because his promises were bullshit. Just pure, unadulterated crap. I'm going to bring grocery prices down. I'm going to do it on day one. You'll see. Everything will be great and beautiful, and gas will be very, very cheap, and so will the groceries, and you'll love it. It'll be great. That didn't happen. And everyone who was living in the real world knew that that was not going to happen. Okay? No, inflation went up. Grocery prices went up. I mean, what else? And here's the thing, though. It's not because Trump didn't do anything. it's because he can't do anything. Okay? And not to say that if he could do something he would, he still wouldn't. Okay? But he can't do anything. The president does not control the price of eggs. Okay? The president does not control the price of groceries. Okay? No, the problem is with inflation specifically, right? About half of the inflation that we've had over the last few years is because of corporate greed, greedflation. Okay, the same corporations which are now pulling back on DEI for some reason are the same corporations that raise their prices because they could and are set to get a massive tax cut to the tune of billions of dollars a year. Okay, these companies took advantage of the pandemic to raise prices, pad their pockets at our expense. They're the most profitable that they have ever been, while we, the people, continue to struggle. Okay? And again, Trump can't do anything directly about that. Okay? And so, look, we're continuing to struggle as a result of that, as a result of corporate greed. Maybe there's something that Congress could do to address the price gouging and to stop these companies from doing it, but they won't. Because, again, the Republicans that run Congress right now that are in control get paid by billionaires. And then, in the same companies. And of course, Democrats, there's a lot of them that also get paid by the owner donors. Okay? So the same companies. But anyway, as far as Gen Z is concerned, though, and struggle, they've grown up in struggle. They know nothing but struggle. Okay? And so, I mean, I feel for them. I do. And I can understand why some people would vote for a change. Now, at the same time, it's like, but wait a minute. Racism, all the stuff that Trump has said and done, not a deal breaker? Of course, you could come back on the other side and be like, well, supporting a genocide, that's not a deal breaker? Fair. Again, there were big problems with supporting the Israeli genocide, and that did cost Harris a ton of votes. That said, I don't think voting for fascism was a better option, personally. All right. That said, Gen Z, they grew up with struggle, and they also grew up at a time where the right wing has taken over pretty much all social media. You got Facebook, you got TikTok, you got Twitter/X, pretty much owned all by billionaires and people who are currying favor with the right wing and allowed for right wing BS and misinformation, disinformation to spread with abandon. Okay. So there's so much lies there. Okay. And so a lot of people in the younger generations, they listen to the influencers. The influencers were paid by sometimes Russia and other times by the Republican Party to spread propaganda. Okay. And so they believed it when they said Trump would be great for the economy. Well, what a great. How's a billionaire that went, bankrupt 6 times? How's he going to be great for the economy? The guy would have been richer had he not actually done anything with his money other than stick it into an index fund. Okay. And he got this money from his daddy. So no, how would you think that guy would be good for the economy? The only way that you would think so is either if you're on the take, okay, or if you've been lied to so much that you don't know what's true anymore. And that's one of the big problems here. Okay, that's one of the big problems. There's a lot of evidence that Donald Trump was a terrible, steward of the economy, but you actually have to see the evidence. You actually have to know that it's there. And so that's the big problem with this propaganda. Okay. And again, because he's a good con man. He's really good at lying to people. Okay. And so the other thing too, that it was fatal for the Democrats in this election is they didn't really address the financial issues. I mean, you have people like Will Stancil out there saying things like, what are you talking about? The economy's fantastic. It's great. It's the greatest thing ever. Not everybody was feeling it. Okay. Um, Donors also, we're saying Democrats do not run on any sort of change. Okay. On economic issues because we're making a ton of money. And not only that, but you also had the Republican obstruction, right? So, Democrats couldn't actually say that, hey, we have plans. We're going to do this. We're going to make this better. But we have Republicans. Oh, and also, the owner donors. Instead, what they did is Democratic leadership just said everything is great, everything's awesome and amazing, and I don't know why you're complaining, young people. Okay, but in reality, of course, you had Gen Z, millennials, retired people, people who are disabled, that are all telling you, no, things are not good out here economically. Things are more expensive than they've ever been before. We can't get housing. You know, we could barely afford our groceries, student loans, all that stuff. A huge problem. They didn't address that. And so, yeah, young voters, the Democrats lost those voters to Trump. And now those voters have discovered that, oh, turns out Trump wasn't a good idea either. This is not what we voted for. Okay, we voted for something else. Well, hey, look, we tried to warn you guys that Trump is a con artist and a liar. You either didn't listen or you didn't get the message in the first place. Well, one is your fault, the other, not so much. But whatever the reason, the damage is being done, and now we're all set to suffer for the decisions that you guys made. Okay. Moving on. Last story here. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. Got a Luigi story for you. Welcome, player 2. All right. A new attempt to get people to turn against the man accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson appears to be falling a bit flat. Luigi Mangione, who was the young man alleged to have shot Thompson because of his role in denying health care to people who were paying for it, customers. Mangione is now being accused of having filmed multiple sex tapes. So now, first of all, I don't care if this happened to be true, right? But secondly, I don't think it is, because when you look at the source of this, it gets, I don't know, a bit dubious. All right. So now this is a conversation with Radar Online. Okay. So already, anybody familiar with Radar Online should know that, oh, they put out some misinformation in the past. All right. Probably to get clicks and stuff. Now, according to them, though, there's a source that was close to Mangione claiming that, oh, yeah, there are these tapes that exist. And, they're not just, I've seen the tapes. And it's not just grainy late night mistakes, they said. It was perfect lighting and everything. So wait. So are you saying it's like professional? Professional? Oh, interesting. They continued by saying he wanted to be watched. He got off on it. Okay, and? The source also claimed that Mangione had allegedly made at least 20 videos of him having sexual relations. Now, again, huge grain of salt here. Okay. Secondly, all right, if these tapes existed, where are they? I mean, that's the question on some people's minds, right? That's why And the fact that they actually don't have any links to them or any evidence of it is why a lot of people are skeptical of these claims. In fact, on social media, one person notes that it's gone from he was in too much pain with his back, so he couldn't have sex with women, to bro's a porn star. You guys need to choose a narrative and stick with it. Another said, the way I know that this is false is because the links would have been posted already. Another said, this is so disgusting and vile. Does anyone have a link to the site or sites where this is held so I can make sure to avoid it at all costs? A lot of tongue in cheek there. Okay. A lot of wink wink. Okay. Oh, wow, what a terrible thing. You should link it to me so I can not watch it. A lot of thirsty people online, okay? And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now, users on Reddit suggested the claims may be nothing more than a smear attack against Mangione. In fact, one Redditor said, oh no, I am sure the most lusted over man in America is going to lose his appeal if the Daily Fail releases his cinema-style porn videos. So, now, here's the thing, right? Very, very dubious that this is true. Okay, the New York Times reported back in December that Mangione had suffered from back pains, which prevented him from dating and being physically intimate with anyone. This is according to a former roommate, R.J. Martin. So that pain, likely a part of his radicalization against the healthcare industry in this country, specifically for-profit insurance. So, no, I don't believe that these tapes exist, but if they did, I think they would just do more to make him more of a sex symbol than he already currently is. Okay, so if this is like a smear, I don't think it's going to work out in the way that the people over at the Daily Mail and the Radar Online want it to. But again, it could just be like, oh, we're going to try to capitalize on this for clicks. And that is the other thing, okay? But I do find it interesting how there are powers that be that are like, oh, what this guy is the worst person alive. Look at how terrible he is. Look at all the terrible things that he has said. Oh my God. Well, I mean, he's already alleged to have murdered someone, which, hey, it's pretty bad. Okay. Murdering people, yes, is not good. Okay. That said, you got to remember that some of these people that are, trying to smear Mangione, don't actually care about murder. Okay. These same people, remember Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro talking about, oh, what a terrible thing. How could anybody have any sympathy for a murderer? Oh my God. Well, Ben Shapiro is trying to get Derek Chauvin, the man who killed George Floyd with a knee to the back of his neck for over 9 minutes, he's trying to get him a presidential pardon from Trump. They don't care about murder. They don't care about killing people. No, what they care about is who the victim is. Okay? If you're a black man who may have been on the other side of the law, people like Ben Shapiro are going to be like, well, he had it coming. He had it coming. You know it. You know he had it coming. And how dare people actually, defend what he did or not feel sad about Brian Thompson? Brian Thompson, I mean, that guy is Ben Shapiro's kind of guy. Okay. Oh, a wealthy CEO. I can't believe anybody would murder somebody like that. I mean, what a pillar of the community. No, Thompson, when you look at what he did, what he engineered for United Healthcare, he is responsible for far more deaths through denials of needed healthcare for people who paid their premiums, did everything they're supposed to do. They got sick or they got injured, And this company, because of what he did, was like, no, we deny your claim. Remember, this is the defrauding of Medicare Advantage. About 90%, this is from an algorithm that this guy put into place. Okay. This algorithm denied 90% of claims for Medicare Advantage patients. Some of them died. Okay. Some of them died. All right. So there it is. Okay. Yeah. I just happen to think that murder with a pen is just as bad as murder with a gun. Okay. Because it's the same at the end of the day. Murder is murder. Okay. So, look, this feels like, getting back to Mangione here, a smear job, a poorly thought out smear job with the aim of reducing the amount of public sympathy that people have with his case. And I think the reason that they would like to do that is so that the powers that be are able to make an example of Mangione. To say, no, don't you dare raise a hand toward the billionaires, okay, towards the people who know better, your betters. Don't you dare strike out against the system, or else we are going to come for you. So, there you go. All right. So, before that's all the stories that I got for you, by the way. Before I head out, there's a super chat here. Jose Kelly writes, and thank you, Jose. We need wartime politicians. You goddamn right we do. Damn right. So I'm with you on that. 100%. I just wish I had the yeah, I don't think I have some good sound effects for that, but I wish I did, because that's a great comment. 100% agree. And then thank you to the new member. I'm not sure who it is. Yeah, I can't see it now, but thank you for joining anyway. Much appreciations to you for joining, becoming a member on YouTube. You can, of course, join by hitting the join button below. Okay. You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Really appreciate it. It helps us. I need your help more than ever. YouTube is severely limiting the reach of my videos. I believe that they are. And I'm not the only one that it's happening to. So my reach is way down, and revenue and all that stuff. So yes, I need your help. Please sign up to become a patron to help keep the show going throughout this dark time. With that said, thank you all. Love you, and we will see you about 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow.